Hi, and welcome to this video. Today, I will explain to you a classical art technique that has been used for centuries by some of the greatest artists, painters that we ever know of. It has been taught in classical academies across Europe, ateliers in the USA, and in the East as well. So, this is a well documented, well known highly helpful technique that if you don't know about, it will help you tremendously. It's actually quite simple. You can do it right now, even as I'm talking and you're listening to me. You don't need to go and buy something. So all that you need is your eyes, essentially. And the technique is just squinting with your eyes. Now, that sounds a little silly. Like how can squinting with your eyes help you in any way to paint or to draw? Well, we have seen, for example, artists like Richard Schmidt, who was a big advocate for this technique, and for good reason. The way that it works basically is obviously squinting by itself is not going to make you a great portrait painter or just a great artist in general. It's what you're able to get from squinting. So when you squint, your vision becomes blurrier. The more you squint, the less light that you are able to see, and the more blurry it becomes. How is that helpful? Like when we're drawing, like for example, you're doing a portrait of someone that you know, or maybe from a photograph, like how does it help you to see that person be a blurry image? Well, because once you squint, you're going to see less details, less small shapes, and less nuances. Well, how does that help you? It does, because especially if you're a beginner, too often beginners will be too focused and distracted by the details in the small shapes. The big shapes, the main proportions of the head, for example, the main forms and structures, the big areas of light and dark, that is what will help establish a strong drawing or a painting. And only once you have that established can you begin to detail, because only then it's going to look correctly. Because if you do not a great job at capturing the main shapes, for example, you're not going to be able to create a good likeness of the model. If you're not able to create accurate main areas of light and dark, your rendering is not going to be very great. So no matter how much you detail that, it's just not going to look correctly. So in order to have an easier time to capture the big forms and shapes of the subject that you're drawing and painting, you use your eyes and you squint, and then you simplify the subject, you simplify your vision of it, and you're able to you will have a better focus on the big shapes and forms. And once you capture those big shapes and forms that have a higher priority, then you can start to go into the smaller forms and the smaller details. And the goal isn't to create a blurry image or a painting. No, no, don't be mistaken here. But rather the goal is to, at least in the beginning stages, to simplify the the model or the subject that you're drawing, whether it's from a life model or a photograph, it doesn't matter. Even in imagination, this technique can work when you just squint at your artwork, even when there's no model present. So the goal isn't to create a blurry image, but rather to simplify and to make it slightly easier on yourself, because art and painting is very difficult and very challenging, as you probably know. And even if you're a professional artist, it still is a challenge. So this is a great technique to make it slightly easier on yourself. And in the beginning, there's no use to pay attention to all the small details. For example, the wrinkles on the forehead or around the eyes. All of that does not matter, at least in the beginning. We all appreciate and we want to do beautiful, detailed paintings. And this technique, it may sound like it's counterproductive to that ambition, but actually, it will help you to create better details, because once you have established the main forms of the head, for example, and once everything is in place and correctly structured, then once you place the details, it will look like everything fits together. and the details will not take away from the form, but rather they will contribute to the overall shape and form. So remember, the goal is not to create a blurry image, the goal is to simplify so that you can capture the main forms and shapes and main areas of light and shadow. And then, once you have done that, then you can begin to detail and go into the smaller shapes. And then, once you have done that, the detail is not going to distract from the overall bigger picture, the bigger shape, the bigger form. But on the contrary, the details will complement the big shapes and forms of the subject that you're drawing and painting. So, I hope that you've learned something new, and next time when you're drawing or sketching, you can employ this classical technique. And trust me, the benefits that you will see from this will be huge. Okay, so I think I've said everything I want to say on this topic for this video. Leave a like and consider subscribing maybe for future content like this. I'll be doing YouTube full time on topics related to painting and drawing and fine art in general. So if you like this type of stuff, subscribe for more. Also, I would love to hear your suggestions in the comment section if you have any feedback, or if you'd like to see a video on a particular topic of your desire, leave a comment down below and I'll try to make it. Alright, thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.